Let's talk about tulpas and their physical appearance and forms. So, a lot of this has to do with visualization and what you want your tulpa to look like and or what they want themselves to look like. Just a little bit of a disclaimer. Over time, your tulpa, as it starts to become more and more sentient, can change aspects of its physical form that may be different from what you initially intended or what is even, what you wanted the tulpa to look like. Um, because as they start to get more sentient, they get their own like physical choices. And just like we like to change our hair, our appearance, our makeup, our outfits, and stuff like that, um, you know, as they become more and more independent, they will too. So, on the meta physical side of things, if you are going to make a tulpa for a specific purpose, a lot of times the form that you decide that they take should kind of represent and symbolize those different aspects of what their purpose is. So if you were to create a tulpa for help in in business or employment matters, you might uh, you might have their form be, having like a business suit. If you wanted someone to help you to be like mentally or physically strong, you might see them initially with, big muscles, things like that. So when you are deciding what you want your tulpa to be or what you want your tulpa to do, think of how a person, a real life flesh person, that is that would help you with those different aspects in your life, what you would want them to look like. We as people, we take a lot of information in when we meet someone and when we interact with them, and a lot of that information is kind of subconscious and visual. It's not just the verbal stuff back and forth. So, it's like if you're going to go to a gym for help with gaining muscle and whatnot, are you going to, you know, be more is it more apt that you would trust a physical trainer that looks like they've been working out a lot or somebody super scrawny with like tiny arms? Like, this is tiny. I mean, hey, I got muscle here, but I'm just demonstrating like a tiny person. Like, does it look like I go to the gym and bust my ass, 3, 4, 5 times a week? Of course not, because I don't. But, a bodybuilder, yeah, you might be like, dude, that guy knows how to get ripped. So I want to work with them. So take that idea and see what you can play around with it. Um, so, in terms of when you decide, what you want your tulpa to be or to do, if you were good at art, you can draw them, and then you can stick that drawing in their shrine, and or even if you're more on the psychological side, you could have a picture of them. Um, or even multiple pictures of them in different outfits, different angles, different facial expressions, things like that. And what this does is it not only gives them a form for you to kind of you know give them an idea of what you want them to look like, but it also helps with visualization, imposition. I have videos on both of those that are more on the meta side of things, but you can take information from that in terms of how to visualize or use imposition to see your tulpa either in the mental and astral planes or even in the physical plane if you get good enough with imposition. But so one thing about like what I like to term the form gallery, I think that's the term that I got from one of the different articles from the Tulpa community website, tulpa.info. Um, you know, a tulpa isn't just a standstill being. They move, they interact, and as you interact with them, they their facial expression changes and stuff, and it gives you a good idea and kind of makes them a little bit more fluid if you have a collection of pictures that would give your brain some hmm, some fuel, some ingredients to showing how they would look or act in different situations. So, and this really helps with the visualization aspect as you interact with them. You know, because if you just have one picture of them from the front, well, if you are quote wonderlanding or whatever, still I kind of don't like that term. It's a fluffy term. Um, when you are interacting with them, either in the mental or astral planes or whatever, and you are moving around or doing things with them, you don't want them to just be a standstill like a cardboard cutout, right? You want them to move and stuff. So either getting or collecting a an amount of pictures would help to um, visualize those different aspects of movement and things like that. Like I said, if you're an artist, you can draw all of these yourself. Um, if you are there's even a lot of people in the Tulpa community that would volunteer to draw a depiction of what your Tulpa looks like based on your description, things like that. Some people charge money, some people don't, just because they like doing art, um, things things like that. So a collection of pictures and stuff is a good idea. So like I said, they can change their physical appearance over time as they become more independent, or they might even want to change their outfit because I personally like, I'm a very simple dude. I have a very limited wardrobe and stuff. And depending on your Tulpa's personality, they might have a very limited wardrobe or a very vast one, where they like to change things all the time. And like I said, as they change their personality, they might change their hair length, their hair color, any of those kinds of things. Or, depending on the situation that they are helping you out with, they might change their, you know, their facial expressions, their clothing, their outfit, all of that stuff. So in terms of like when you create a solid thing, like if you were to create a tulpa and do like a sculpture or something as kind of a home for their physical form when they are not out doing work, you can create that out of clay and stuff. I think I talked about that in the shrine video. Um, but just keep in mind that that might change over time. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change their physical vessel, if it's like a sculpture or whatever. Now, you know, whether they actually change their physical appearance and things like that um, can really be an interaction between the two of you and whether or not like you feel comfortable with that or whatever. And they might express, hey, I feel like changing this and stuff. Is that cool with you? Or they might just be like, I did it, so what, so there. Um, yeah, trying to think of any other angles that I can take this at, because you guys know that I like to kind of free flow more with this stuff because I feel like I can get more information out that way. Oh, one other thing. So in terms of physical form and stuff, tulpas don't necessarily have to be, two arms, two legs, fingers and toes, and all that. Some tulpamancers like to pick a an animalistic form, for them. And honestly, that's up to personal preference, and that's okay. Even with like meta tulpamancers, if you wanted to create a tulpa for protection, you might not want to have a person or whatever embody that. You could have, a panther, a lion, a tiger, a big attack dog, a wolf, whatever. And it's really what those kinds of things symbolize for you. Think about the symbolism, the representations, the archetypes, and things like that. And it really boils down to what the purpose behind them is and what your associations are with them. If you wanted somebody to protect you, would you want a big, strong dude or a little tiny girl, right? It goes with what you want your tulpa to do and what you want your tulpa to be. Now, on the metaphysical side, when we generate a tulpa for a specific purpose, such as a messenger, a protector, an assistant, things like that, um, their form might not change over time because I think on the metaphysical side, when you generate a tulpa for a specific purpose, it's almost like in literature they have the flat characters and the dynamic characters. I would like to think that in the metaphysical side of things, when we create a tulpa, egregore, servitor, whatever, for a specific purpose. It's a very flat character because they have that one or maybe a, two or three um, aspects to them, and that's what they're supposed to do. So it's a very specific notion of what they do, so it's a very specific visualization. But on the psychological side, because we kind of want more of a humanistic interaction, a more dynamic interaction that happens either like all the time or quite often, and we kind of want their personality to be very vast, dynamic, and deep, that they that the form would and could change over time, like I said, outfits and things like that. So once again, this really boils down to personal preference, and not only by the Tulpamancer, but the Tulpa themselves as they begin to grow and things like that. One of the suggestions that I have is any depiction, like if you go with the psychological and meta side, like I do, and the any kind of visual depiction of the tulpa that you have, I would also associate it with a sigil that you make for that tulpa, because remember, sigils are like subconscious programmers, subconscious triggers. So if you associate the sigil with the picture, then it's almost like a picture of a celebrity with their autograph. Oh, this is signed by so and so. This is who this is. And not only that, but when you have a sigil next to a depiction, it's an energetic tire. This is who this is. It's like a stamp of approval. It's like the boxes that I handle at work. Anything that's delivered by Amazon itself does not have a USPS tracking number scan SKU thingamajig, but anything that's delivered by USPS obviously has a USPS tracking number scan thingamajig, so you can tell where it came from. Even international labels are specific, and then domestic labels are specific, so you can tell exactly where it came from. Or like it's things like that are at a store. You can see, oh, this is made by Kraft, this is made by this company, this is made by this company, because they have their logo on it. Sigils are kind of like logos, because the second that if you see those golden arches, it's McDonald's, right? Kind of like that. It's a signature. Oh, I know where that came from. Oh, I know what this attaches to. Oh, I know what this reminds me of. Because like if we see like a Big Mac or something and just the little golden arches, then then all of our subconscious associations with McDonald's, from like what their menu is to where your nearest McDonald's is or whatever, those things kind of get preloaded in our minds. They might not, it's not like we automatically think about all of those things. Like when we see the golden arches, we're just like, oh, McDonald's. We're not like, oh yeah, that's 2 miles down the street and it takes a right turn, a left turn, and then it's over on the right. But if the next second we're like, where's the closest McDonald's, because now I'm kind of hungry, then that information kind of comes up. The same kind of thing with a sigil and a physical form. When we like I said before, when we make a lot of judgments and ideas from someone's physical form, you might be like, wow, that person's got a lot of muscles. And then if you wanted to think about it deeper, that's when a lot of things come up. Your association to where the closest gym is. Gee, I wonder how long it took them to beef up like that. Stuff like that. So it preloads information, and it makes all those different connections really quick that you can then call up. So, yeah, I think I covered it. So this has been the physical forms of tulpas, both on the metaphysical side and the psychological side of things. Let me know what you guys think, how you guys think I did in terms of covering this stuff. You can always drop comments, questions, complaints, concerns, issues in the comments below. You can always email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com. You can check out any of my other videos for how to work with general magic, how to build your magical skill set, the theories of magic videos, which is in a playlist on how magic functions in our normal reality, which, by the way, I have my book, Magical Mechanics, for that. Is that one up there? Yeah, it's the gray one, yeah. And then my other books, Magical Theater, which is on the psychology and energy of magic and how they interplay, the Guide to the Spheres and Beyond, which is a kind of workbook on how to work through the Simon Necronomicon gate walking. And then my other book, which It's upstairs. Why does this always happen to me? um, is handy sigil magic, which is my own personal sigil magic method that incorporates sigils with physical movements to move that energy and activate them. All of my books can be found on Amazon.com. Be sure to check out any of my other videos for any other topics in metaphysical and psychological understandings of the world with magic, Tulpamancy, the Simon Necronomicon, demonology, and any other theoretical kinds of things, and even some fun things that I create. So let me know what you guys think about this, and good hunting.